Welcome to Beyond Film School, where I teach you all about the film industry. I'm Amber. In this video, we are talking about why I work in film. You may not know, or maybe you do know, but I have a website and it's beyondfilmschool.com. Now, with this website, I have film career resources and all that, and sometimes I write blog posts and articles. And one of my top articles is the film industry a good career choice? And I understand why this might be an article that everyone clicks on and why they read it, because I feel like there is a little bit of hesitation, there's some apprehensive, feelings, anxiety that goes into, following your film dreams, wanting to be a filmmaker. So I understand when it comes down to it, you're like, is this the path I want to take? In the state of film right now, there's a lot of things going on. And I know it's been looking pretty grim the last few years. I mean, we had the lockdown with the pandemic, right? We're going back to 2020. We couldn't work. Then we're going back onto sets, which there was a lot of work to be had, during that, because the streaming bubble hadn't burst yet. So we're on set, masks, shields, the whole nine, getting tested all the time. Sometimes I got tested like twice a day. It was bananas. We have this lovely COVID situation for 2-3 years, and then we go into a strike, and then after that, we didn't really bounce back from the strike, because after the strike ended, that was when the streaming bubble had burst. And on top of all of that, we've had the devastating wildfires in California, and it's definitely affected the film industry in that area and productions around that area that operate out of Los Angeles. The film industry has been hit one right after the other, and we can't catch a break. And now we're here and we're like, oh my God, where's all the work? It brings me to the question of, why do I work in film? So maybe I'm answering it for you and mainly myself. It is a hard career choice. And I know that some people are not ready to, embark on such a challenging career. They want security. And unfortunately, when you work in film, there's not much security, right? Even if you are a crew member that is working on union sets all the time, and you have steady work, and maybe you're on a steady gig like SVU, Law and Order, right? That show's been going on for so many seasons, and season after season, people get asked back, and you have like a lovely 10-month gig every year. But then what happens when that show ends, right? Where are you gonna go? So that's like the best case scenario, is being on one of those shows, right? Where you are on for 10 months and you get 2 months off and you're like, oh my God, I'm loving life. But for example, like Blue Bloods was something that I can think of where they did 8 seasons and then the series ended just recently, and then you're like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Funny enough, I don't really like working on those shows that are like 10 months long. That's too much for me. I like a lot of variety. So that's my first reason why I work in film. It is the fact that I know every day is different. I go to set at a different call time. I'm always going to a different location. And even on stage days, if I'm going to the stage where that might seem like it's the same thing. We're doing different scenes, different actors, or different background. There's different things happening all the time. And also when you're on episodics, you're dealing with different people, like different directors come in. I love the variety that it gives to my life. And also, not just a day-to-day, but also when a year-to-year. Like one year I might be on a Netflix show, the next year I might be on a feature film. I love the fact that 6 months from now, I have no idea what I'm gonna be doing. Well, that's a benefit for me. That might make someone else feel super, super anxious, and they're not gonna know how to handle that type of stuff. Like, where am I gonna be at? What am I gonna be doing? How am I gonna pay my bills? And I've kind of just trained myself not to worry about those things, and I'm going to get the jobs, and if I have to pick up a side gig, whatever. And that's what I did when I was an additional PA coming up. It's just like I just had those side gigs that, supplement my income. So that's the one thing. Number one is going to be variety. So my next reason is going to be creativity, right? Filmmaking is an amazing art form, and some of you may or may not know, but I am an assistant director, and you may be thinking, well, that's not really a creative gig. But for me, I feel like it is creative because I get to do, direct background, and I also have to really tap into creative problem solving. I think that humans as creative beings, there's a lot of creativity that is not really credited to be creativity, like how you think and how you act and how you do certain things. These are all creative decisions that you're making throughout the day. I know when we think of creativity, we're thinking of like visual arts and painting and drawing and, writing and all these things. But for me, when I get to handle a situation or a confrontation, or I get to mediate or whatever, and I have to think about how to solve those problems, and I get to, come up with a creative solution. That for me is amazing. But also, I do like being around the art form. I like being around actors and their performance, and seeing a director direct actors and seeing the writers discuss the direction and all that with actors. It is really quite something to encounter when you're on set. So the creativity is just amazing, and also just being around the different departments and how they do their jobs, like seeing the grips. First of all, if you've never seen a dolly grip move the dolly, that is an art form in itself, and I love watching it. And also like them building certain things to support the camera and seeing props do certain things. All of it coming together is just seeing the world being built, and I love it. So creativity is definitely on the list for me of why I work in film. So my next reason is kind of weird, and it is because it's a challenge that I like working in film. And some people are like, oh, you're just a glutton for punishment, or maybe something's wrong with it, maybe something's wrong with me, maybe something is wrong with the fact that I like to feel the struggle. I find it interesting that while I am a long distance runner and I do half marathons, the challenge of film is an attractive element for me. And some people are like, F that, I am not gonna do that. I do not want the extra stress in my life. But every day that is different brings different challenges. But not only every day when you're on a show, but when I think about trying to sustain my career, that's a challenge. Trying to network with new people, trying to overcome different challenges with personal, interactions that I've had with people. So when I think about how hard it is to succeed in film, it almost makes me want to keep trying harder and harder to make sure that I stay in it. I know that there's a big part of my life where I was thinking am I just addicted to the struggle? And part of it is because it is a challenging thing and I'm dealing with difficult people. I have worked with many assistant directors that have been really hard on me, but they made me better, right? And I think that because I have an appetite for growth and an appetite to learn, that I'm not afraid of those challenging or, those confrontations that are going to challenge me. I'm not afraid of adversity, and I welcome it because I know that all these difficult things that I go through to me, I think it's just going to make me a better person. And I know you have to draw a line somewhere, but the challenge of film is really something that keeps me going in film. So I did mention that I was an assistant director, and I'm actually in the DGA, and that has been a big dream of mine for a very, very long time. And I mean, it is the reason why I think I still work in film, is because it took such a long time to get there, and now I'm here and I get to reap the benefits of it, and I'm just so grateful for it. So just trying to keep my eye on the prize this whole time and trying to get into DGA I don't know, I felt like being in the DGA, the Directors Guild of America, legitimized who I was and the decisions I made. Because, when you are talking to your family or friends, you're like, I want to work in film. They're like, you crazy. But then you're like, oh, I work with, Queen Latifah. And, she just texted me Merry Christmas or whatever. And that actually is a true story. My sister was like, you're just going to nonchalantly mention that she texted you for Christmas. Those moments, and me being in the DGA and, reaping the benefits, and actually being part of an organization that Christopher Nolan's a part of, is mind blowing. But these are the things that keep me in it. Let's just be honest, guys. Working in film is an addiction. It's honestly an addiction. When I'm on set, I love it. We have fun. And because it is, I feel like, a drug for a lot of people, you can't give it up. So even with all the bad sets, and, sometimes it's kind of crazy because when you are on all these challenging, hard shows that, you would say might be a bad set or a horrible time, when you get to a set that's running smooth and easy days and not that hard, you're like, wait a minute, something's wrong. And you're kind of you kind of want the chaos again. If you have not been on a film set yet and you're embarking in this journey and you're like, I want to work in film, just beware, because when you get your first taste of being on set, you're just you get that it. You want to keep going and going and going. Unless you're a different type of person, you're like, that is totally not for me. I'm going to my 9 to 5. I'm going to my desk job. It's addictive. Just fair warning. You've been warned. If this video has done nothing, I wanted to at least help you make up your mind if this is the right path for you, because I know that some people are wondering, like, is this the right career choice? And I'm going to be honest, there are times of you not working. There are times of you, when you are not working, your job, when you don't have a job, is looking for your next gig. Your job, when you don't have a job, is looking for a job. Okay, guys? So that's something that a lot of people are not ready for. And also, another thing is, when the given is good, save your money.
Save your money.
Because you don't know when your next gig is going to be, so you have to really live beneath your means and be good with money and making sure that you can survive, or have that flexible side job. So that is just the reality of working in film, because it's going to take you a while to get where you want to go at the level you want to be at when it comes to working in film. So if you are interested in trying to unlock more film opportunities meaning, you know, getting on set, getting more gigs, getting more jobs, I do have a mini course. It should take you like 1 to 2 hours to do. The link is going to be below for you. Check it out. And if you want to know more about film, I have a video for you on the screen.